All hands to battle stations!
It's like Battleship without the mystery, without the plastic ships, and without the fun. It's Naval Ops Commander for the PlayStation 2.
Enemy ship sunk!
Developed by the Japanese studio Microcabin, Naval Ops Commander is the 2004 sequel to the 2003 Naval Ops Warship Gunner. And like its predecessor, Commander is all about simulating combat on the high seas, although from a very detached and methodical perspective. I gotta tell you, this is a pretty uneventful game. Most of the time you're just watching your ship sail and waiting for something to happen. But if you're into strategizing and heavy customization, Commander's probably gonna appeal to you, tediously slow pace and all. I suppose there's a plot, but as the weak presentation might suggest, it's not anything more than a reason to go blow up boats. You're in the middle of a fictional war between fictional countries, and unless you're in the mood to read scrolling text, that's all you need to know. What's more important than the premise of the war are its gears, and in Commander, there are two main gears you'll tinker with. Before each mission begins, you can actually get into some pretty serious customization. Using the money you earn at sea, you can buy weapons, parts for your ship, all kinds of stuff. And from there, you can also assemble. You can add parts to existing warships, or even build an entire fleet of your own from the sea floor up. There's just a staggering amount of depth to all this, and if spending hours designing your own ships for use in-game is something that gets your anchor heavy, you certainly won't be disappointed by that aspect of Commander. Of course, you customize so you can destroy, and that's the other major portion of this game, putting your boats in the water and actually using them. Now, the combat is actually much simpler than the customizing and strategizing, and although that does create an interesting dynamic, it also feels a bit too simple. Basically, you steer your fleet from an overhead perspective, sailing around the map and destroying whichever objects your mission dictates. Firing weapons is a matter of pressing a button and moving a reticule. There really isn't much to it. And for the most part, the game's more than 80 missions are generally spent waiting, watching, and reacting. Obviously, there isn't much room for action in that equation. This game is all about flexing your wartime creativity and using lots of patience and deliberation to bring it to fruition. If you're into blowing up ships and asking questions later, this obviously isn't the game for you. But if you're into dry strategy games that reward those who are willing to invest the time, Naval Ops Commander is a decent little game of maritime engagement.
Full speed ahead!